What if I told you that Johnny Depp's entire Hollywood comeback might depend on just one movie? Not a franchise. Not a multi-year series. Just one single role. One performance. One story that could either seal his return to the top, or leave him watching the spotlight from a distance. It's a risky thought, isn't it? But when you look at Depp's career, risk has always been part of the package. From the earliest days, he's been drawn to characters that weren't the obvious choice, to scripts that other actors might have turned down because they didn't seem safe. And this time, the risk feels even bigger, because it's not just about adding another credit to his filmography, it's about rewriting the entire narrative around his career. The film is called Day Drinker. On the surface, it doesn't sound like a big-budget blockbuster. It's not the kind of title that screams CGI, car chases, or superhero costumes. But maybe that's the point. This is the kind of project that lives or dies on the strength of its performances. It's stripped back, grounded, and raw. There's no hiding behind spectacle here. If Depp delivers, people will notice. If he doesn't, well, people will notice that too. For years, Johnny Depp's life has been a mix of incredible highs and very public lows. At one point, it felt like there wasn't a corner of the world that didn't know his name. He wasn't just an actor, he was a cultural figure. You couldn't walk into a Halloween store without seeing Captain Jack Sparrow costumes. You couldn't mention Tim Burton without someone immediately bringing up Depp's name. He wasn't just in the conversation, he was the conversation. But Hollywood can be cold when the winds change. In the last few years, Depp went from one of the most bankable stars on the planet to someone studios weren't sure they wanted to take a chance on. Some projects disappeared. Some were put on hold. Some roles he might have been first in line for suddenly went to other actors. It was a strange thing to watch, a man who had once carried billion-dollar franchises suddenly on the outside looking in. And yet, here he is now, preparing to step back into the arena. Not with a sequel, not with a safe role, but with something entirely new. Something that could remind people what he's capable of when everything is on the line. The reason Day Drinker matters so much is because it's different. It's not about the larger-than-life characters that Depp's become famous for, the pirates, the Mad Hatters, the eccentric dreamers. This is the kind of role that requires something else entirely. It's quieter. More grounded. Built on the small moments, the glances, the pauses, the unspoken tension that runs under the surface of every good drama. And that's why it's such a gamble. When you take away the costumes, the prosthetics, the fantasy worlds, you're left with just the actor and their truth. There's nothing to hide behind. Every expression, every word, every flicker of emotion has to feel real, or the whole thing collapses. This isn't new territory for Depp. He's delivered deeply emotional performances before, but it's been a while since we've seen him in something like this. In recent years, a lot of his roles have been wrapped in layers of style and theatricality. That's not a bad thing, it's part of what made him iconic. But Day Drinker is a chance to strip all that away and show the core of his craft. It's worth remembering that Hollywood loves a comeback, but it also has a short memory. One truly great film could change everything. One misstep could keep the doubts alive. That's the tightrope Depp is walking right now. From what little has been shared about Day Drinker, it sounds like the kind of story that can't survive without an actor completely locked into the role. It's about human flaws, complicated relationships, the kind of emotional messiness that isn't easy to fake. If Depp gets it right, the film could hit like a quiet earthquake, not the loudest release of the year, but one that leaves a lasting mark. There's already a buzz around it. Not the loud, overhyped kind of buzz, but a quieter, more curious kind. People want to see if Depp can do it. If he can step into this role and make people forget about the headlines and the gossip, even for 2 hours. It's that curiosity that could work in his favor. And maybe that's exactly what he's counting on. Because when you've been to the top and then found yourself on the outside, looking back in, there's a kind of hunger that never really leaves you. It's not just about fame. It's not just about money. It's about proving to yourself, and to everyone else, that you still have something to give. That you're not done yet. There's something powerful about having something to prove. It changes the way you approach the work. When you're comfortable, when the roles keep coming in without much effort, you can afford to coast every now and then. But when every project might be your last chance to remind the world who you are, coasting isn't an option. Every detail matters. Every choice on set becomes deliberate. Every scene is an opportunity to dig deeper, to find something in yourself you might have overlooked before. Some of the greatest performances ever captured on film came from actors who had their backs against the wall. Think about the times when the industry had already written someone off, when the critics had moved on, when the fans weren't sure anymore. That's when the magic often happens. It's like the pressure squeezes something out of them that wasn't there before, or maybe it was always there, but it needed the right moment to surface. When the industry had moved on, when phone calls from producers slowed down, when invitations to the biggest premieres stopped arriving, when scripts that used to land on their desk started going to younger, fresher faces, that's when a choice has to be made. Do you accept that your time has passed? Or do you fight your way back in? And when the audience wasn't sure, when people started wondering if you could still deliver the kind of performance that once made you unforgettable, that doubt becomes a kind of fuel. It can either break you or push you into a place you've never been before. A place where every rehearsal is intense, where you're up late at night thinking about every line, every gesture, every moment that might connect with the audience. Actors who have been through it will tell you, there's a different kind of energy that comes when you're playing for your career. It's not desperation. It's not fear. It's focus. It's knowing that you don't get to waste this moment because you might not get another like it. When they have to dig deeper than they ever have before, something changes. The performance stops being just about acting and starts being about truth. It's about bringing every ounce of your own life, your own experiences, your own scars into the role. It's about letting the lines on your face, the weight in your eyes, the history in your voice do part of the storytelling for you. For someone like Johnny Depp, Day Drinker might be that moment, the point where the weight of his entire career, and the stories that have surrounded it, all come together in a single role. This isn't just another project where you step on set, deliver your lines, and collect the paycheck. This is the kind of film where you bring your whole self into it. Every memory, every scar, every lesson you've learned, whether you wanted to or not. He's been through more than most actors could imagine. The victories, sure, the kind of highs that most people dream about but never reach. Walking red carpets with flashbulbs exploding in every direction. Seeing his face on massive posters in cities around the world. Hearing fans scream his name as if they've known him all their lives. Landing roles that have become part of pop culture history, the kind that people dress up as, quote from, and pass down to younger generations like treasured stories. But then there are the failures. The movies that didn't work. The scripts that seemed promising but fell apart somewhere between the first draft and the final cut. The projects that got overshadowed by everything happening off-screen. And the quiet moments when you start to wonder if you've lost the magic, or if the industry has decided you're no longer worth the gamble. And then, of course, there are the public battles. The ones that played out under the relentless eye of the media, where every move, every word, every expression became fuel for endless speculation. Courtrooms instead of sound stages. Headlines instead of scripts. Your personal life becoming the center of conversations that have nothing to do with the work you've spent decades building. On top of that, there are the private struggles. The things the cameras never captured, but that weigh just as heavily. The relationships tested and sometimes broken. The self-doubt that creeps in when the work slows down. The loneliness of realizing that the same fame that brought you the world also built walls you didn't notice until they were already there. It's all of this, the highs, the lows, the noise, the silence, that he has to pour into a role like the one in Day Drinker. And not in some exaggerated, theatrical way. This isn't about big gestures or flashy moments that look good in a trailer. This is about a kind of honesty you can't fake. The kind that comes from having lived through the exact feelings you're trying to portray. You can't replicate the experience of knowing what it's like to be celebrated one day and doubted the next unless you've been there. Unless you've felt the shift, the way doors that used to open with a phone call suddenly require a fight to get through. The way smiles turn into polite nods. The way people who once called you a genius start questioning if maybe your time has passed. That's the kind of emotional truth that doesn't just live in your head, it lives in your body. In the way you carry yourself. In the way your eyes linger just a little longer before looking away. In the way your voice catches slightly on a line that hits too close to home. And that's why Day Drinker could be such a defining moment for Depp. Because this role isn't asking him to create something entirely from scratch. It's asking him to take the raw material of his own life and channel it into someone else's story. To let the audience see the vulnerability without shielding it behind layers of character quirks or eccentric costumes. When actors tap into that place, the performance takes on a different weight. It feels lived in, not performed. The audience may not know the exact details of what's fueling it, but they can feel that it's coming from somewhere real. And that feeling stays with them. It's the same reason some of the most powerful roles in film history have come from actors at pivotal points in their lives, moments when they weren't just playing the part, they were living it in some way. There's a resonance, a depth, that can't be faked no matter how skilled you are. For Depp, this might be one of the few chances to show that side of himself on screen. Not the legend. Not the icon. Not the headline. Just the man, stripped back to the essentials, standing in front of the camera with nothing but the truth he can bring to the character. And maybe that's what makes Day Drinker so intriguing. Because for all the speculation, for all the build-up, for all the talk about whether this could be the role that changes everything, the only way to know is to watch him step into it. To see if he can take everything he's been through, the victories, the failures, the public battles, the private struggles, and turn them into something that feels utterly real. If he can, then Day Drinker won't just be another film on his resume. It will be a piece of him, captured on screen forever. And that's the kind of performance that doesn't just bring someone back into the spotlight, it reminds people why they belonged there in the first place. When you watch performances born out of that place, you can feel it. It's in the stillness between words. It's in the way a character's emotions shift without warning, because that's how life actually works. It's in the way an actor doesn't seem like they're performing at all, they just are. The truth is, the audience can sense authenticity. They know when someone is fully present in a role. And when an actor who's been counted out suddenly delivers something unforgettable, it's more than just a great performance, it's a story in itself. It's redemption unfolding right in front of your eyes. That's why Day Drinker carries so much weight. It's not just another job for Depp. It's a stage where he can prove, not with interviews or headlines, but with pure, unfiltered craft, that he's still one of the greats. And that's the thing about comebacks, the best ones aren't loud. They don't need a marketing campaign screaming about redemption. They happen quietly, scene by scene, moment by moment, until suddenly people realize, oh, he's back. If Day Drinker becomes that moment, it won't just be because Depp decided to make a return. It will be because he threw himself into the role with everything he's got, because he treated every frame like it might be the one people remember him for years from now. And maybe, when the lights go down and the credits roll, the audience will leave the theater not just talking about the movie, but about the fact that Johnny Depp has reminded them why they ever believed in him in the first place. If you're planning to watch Day Drinker when it's released, here's something worth trying: go in with a clean slate. Forget what you think you know about Johnny Depp. Forget the news stories. Forget the characters he's played before. Watch the performance as if you've never seen him act before, and let it stand on its own. Pay attention to the small things. Great acting isn't always in the big, dramatic speeches. It's in the way someone hesitates before speaking, or how they look away at just the right moment. It's in the way a character's shoulders slump when they think no one's watching. If Depp is all in on this role, those moments will be there, and they'll be the ones that stick with you. And here's the big one, don't go in expecting Captain Jack Sparrow, or any of the other larger-than-life roles. This isn't that kind of movie. This is about peeling away the layers, not adding them. It's about getting as close to the truth of the character as possible. Actors often say that the hardest roles are the ones where you can't hide. No costumes. No fantasy world. No distractions. Just you, the camera, and the truth you can bring to the character. That's the challenge Depp has taken on here. If he pulls it off, Day Drinker won't just be another movie in his career. It will be a statement. A way of saying, without words, I'm still here. I'm still capable. And I can still make you believe in a story. And as an audience, we get to be there for it. We get to see it unfold in real time. That's part of the excitement. Knowing how much is riding on this and watching it happen right in front of us. So the question becomes, if Day Drinker is a masterpiece, will Hollywood throw the doors wide open and welcome him back fully? Or will it take more than one great film to truly change the narrative? That's something we're all going to find out together. And whether you've been a Depp fan from the start or you're still undecided, you can't deny that this next chapter is going to be fascinating. What do you think? If he delivers one of his best performances yet, is that enough to erase the doubt? Or does he have to prove himself again and again? However it plays out, one thing is certain, we're about to see Johnny Depp take one of the biggest risks of his career. And that alone makes Day Drinker worth watching.